Welcome to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Prashant Sabapathi of Elite Income Advisors. And to our viewers at home, we realize you have a lot of questions about Fiscal Health, Retirement Wealth. This is an amazing book that Prashant wrote. We're going to talk about what's in each chapter and how it relates to your retirement dream. Prashant, how are you today?
I'm doing excellent. You know, we didn't even talk about it, but it looks like we're matching a little bit here today.
We are.
Green, money, right?
And spring.
Color. Yeah, spring.
Right?
Exactly.
Happiness. Green's my favorite color. But anyway, your book, oh my gosh, people have been so excited to call in, to book the complimentary consultation, come to the office, meet with you, meet with Nick, meet with Ozzy, and receive a copy of this amazing read. It's an easy read, and I'd love to spend the whole show talking about it if we could.
I would love to do that. Let's do it. Let's get right into this thing.
Yay! So the overview talks about the importance of a holistic retirement. And Prashant, we hear that word a lot, holistic health, holistic planning purposes for other things, but how does that fit into holistic retirement? What does holistic really mean to you?
I think there's so many different parts of your retirement plan. You know, 20 or 30 years ago, all you had to do was worry about only the personal savings part of retirement. And that's because you had a pension and you had Social Security, and those two things together made up the majority, if not all, of your retirement income. But today, Cynthia, life is just different. Every part of your financial plan intersects some other part of your plan, whether it's healthcare, long-term care, your retirement income, Social Security, and taxes. It all goes together. And so to me, when we talk about holistic planning, it's about identifying what a vision for retirement should look like, and then really building a plan, taking into account 4 or 5 different things to get you to that lifestyle vision of your most fulfilling version of retirement. That's what a true holistic plan means, at least to me.
I love that. Thank you so much. Well, what about, let's going into chapter 1, go beyond the numbers, your retirement dream. So it's not always about finance. Let's talk about your retirement dream.
I would say finance is actually a very small part of retirement. It just happens to be one piece of it that tends to influence a lot of other pieces. But with that being said, I always encourage people to develop a vision for retirement. So what that means is, let's start to think about what you want to do. Who do you want to be doing it with? Where do you want to be in retirement? And I think, unfortunately, this is an exercise that people don't often think about until they actually get to retirement.
You're right.
I can't tell you how often we'll have a couple come into the office and I start asking the question about their house. Tell me a little bit about your house. How long have you been in the house? And the question that always seems to trip people up is, tell me what the long-term vision is with your house. And I'll have one spouse that says, yeah, we want to stay here, we want to be close to the grandkids. And the look on the other spouse's face thinking, oh, I was thinking maybe we wanted to move down to the Carolinas or move down to Florida. And there's not a meeting of the minds on this. And so I think this underscores the importance of doing some proactive planning. Have these conversations about the what, the who, and the where of your retirement, and then let the financial plan support your vision for retirement. But we have to have those conversations as far in advance as we possibly can to make the planning just that much simpler.
Most definitely, Prashant, because it is such an emotional time in life. Like, we know you're looking forward to it. You have the calendar, you have circled the date, and you're like, that's the day I am retiring. But so often, I know you've heard stories of people when they have actually entered day 1 of retirement, they're in such a routine, they still get up, they still shower, they get dressed, and sometimes people have driven to the office and called you and said, Prashant, I have no idea what to do now.
Yeah, this actually has happened before, and I think what it speaks to is this almost loss of identity when you retire, and it's something that people absolutely do not think about. You kind of just take for granted that, hey, it's my last day, and then I'll transition to retirement and everything will work out perfectly. But the thing is, when you work, especially at a place that you like to work for the last 20, 30 years, your coworkers actually become friends. And when you lose that interaction, while they're all at the office and now you're retired, you have a sense of your identity that has been taken away from you. And so a great thing to do is actually scale into retirement. Now, I'm not saying every single person needs to scale in, but what I mean by that is if you're fortunate enough to be in a position where you can scale back your retirement, maybe scale back your work, go from working full-time to maybe part-time and then part-time into full retirement, that could be a great way to almost test drive your retirement a little bit, understand what life will look like outside of work, what your identity looks like outside of your career. I think it's a really important and powerful planning strategy so that when you get to retirement, you don't have that loss of purpose, loss of identity.
And let's talk for a moment, if we could, about what happens, Prashant, when one spouse retires and the other is still working. Talk about how that dynamic will shift.
It's tough, right?
Yes.
It is tough because I think we kind of take for granted that we want to retire with our spouse, but maybe we have an age difference there. Maybe we have different personalities in terms of one person likes to work and one person maybe can't wait to get to retirement. That's how me and my wife are, like I'm always in the office, and that's because I love it. And she loves what she does as well, but she's definitely more of a routine person, kind of 8 to 5 person, and she likes to have the evenings to herself. And so we're not always on the same page on that. And I see that with our clients as well. Not everybody has to agree on everything, but I think what you should do is you should design a plan that fits your specific circumstances and figure out how you're going to integrate not only with your spouse, but with the rest of your family to include all the hobbies and all the things that you want to do when you get to retirement.
And that really ties back into the importance of the holistic retirement plan, because I remember we had a story one time where you actually told the gentleman that he was okay to retire, and his wife goes, "Don't say that."
Yeah, right. And
he's not going anywhere.
And you know what? That happens so often, I feel like. But what we've talked about just in the first part of the show is very much non-financial, right? Yes, you want to have a retirement plan that allows you to make that decision to retire whenever you want, but so much of it is non-financial. It's so highly personal. It's so highly emotional. And so you have to be in a position where you've thought about these things before you ever got to that phase. You don't want to be left in a position where you make the decision to retire and then you have no clue what the rest of your life looks like. And so oftentimes writing this stuff down is a great exercise. I mean, I'm a writer type of person. At the beginning of every year, I write down all my goals that I want to accomplish. And then periodically I'll review those goals, review those objectives, and take inventory of whether or not I'm on track. And that's exactly what we do with our clients as well. When we set those financial goals, we don't just set them up and then forget about them for the next 20 years. We visit with people on an ongoing basis. We're doing maintenance on your retirement plan. And once we clearly state those objectives, we're going to figure out whether or not you're still on track. If you've never been through that exercise, we call it the Retire Smart Road Mapping process. We're going to give you the opportunity to take a look at your own Retire Smart Roadmap, but it does start with a phone call. That phone number is 833-308-5200. That's 833-308-5200. If anything that we've talked about, maybe the non-financial, the more emotional part of your financial planning process, if you've never gone through that exercise, great opportunity to come in. It's a free appointment to visit with our team of specialists, and we will talk about all these different aspects of your retirement plan. You can also scan the QR code below or visit retiremaryland.com. You'll get your opportunity to get this book. It's Fiscal Health, Retirement Wealth. It's your prescription for income generation, tax management, and financial peace of mind. Pick up the phone, give us a call now.
Prashant, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, this is your opportunity to gain that complimentary consultation and, most importantly, gain a copy of this book. It's an amazing read. I love it. I've read it several times. And again, Fiscal Health, Retirement Wealth can be in your hands by booking that consultation. That number to call is 833-308-5200. If you have your smartphone handy, you can grab that. Click on the QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to the landing page for Elite Income Advisors, and you can schedule your time accordingly. Remember, retirement is not just about finance. It's about the holistic entire picture of what your life will look like. We'll be right back after this very short commercial break.
having a true written financial plan provides peace of mind in a way that nothing else really can.
In our job, we want to make sure that we give it to our clients the guaranteed income stream for the rest of their lives, so they don't have to worry about what's going to happen.
As a specialist in distribution, we're helping people make sure that their money is going to last for the rest of their lifetime so that they never run out of income, and minimize that tax consequence along the way, and then help transfer that to their heirs in the most tax efficient way.
I think the most important to me in the financial planning is first of all, you need to understand what the client wants. It's all about the client.
So much of what we do at Elite Income Advisors surrounds helping people understand exactly where their paycheck is going to come from, how much it's going to be, and making sure that, most importantly, that it increases through their retirement.
Welcome back to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Prashant Sabapathi of Elite Income Advisors, and we're talking all about the book, Fiscal Health, Retirement Wealth. And Prashant, we're going to jump into the next chapter. I think this is very interesting. There are some deadly risks regarding retiring today. The first one that you talk about in this chapter is taxes. Let's jump into that.
I think a lot of people take taxation for granted. They just think, hey, I'm always going to have to pay my taxes, and so I shouldn't worry about it. I'll just have it withheld from my withdrawals when I get to that phase of life. And look, to some degree, that's true. You are always going to have to pay your tax, but I think it's actually your responsibility to pay the least amount of tax that you legally can to make your retirement lifestyle as fulfilling as possible. We always say you cannot spend gross, you can only spend net.
True.
Right? And so it's your responsibility to make sure that that net income is as high as possible to fulfill your retirement lifestyle. And so for me, it goes to, what can we proactively do to put ourselves in the lowest tax bracket possible when we get to retirement? And one of the things that I love is this idea of a tax preferred or even a tax free income stream in retirement through the use of a Roth IRA. Now, some of you out there may not be eligible to contribute to a Roth IRA because maybe you earn too much income, and so you can't put money into a Roth. But there is a way for you to actually take your pre-tax retirement account. So think about that old IRA that you have, or maybe you have a 401k and you're over the age of 59 and a half years old. You can roll that over potentially into a IRA account and then convert that totally pre-tax retirement account to a Roth IRA.
Okay.
When you make that conversion, the Roth IRA now becomes tax-free for the balance of your lifetime, which is fantastic. And when you pass it on to your heirs will inherit the money tax-free as well.
Wow.
The downside to doing a Roth conversion, though, is that you have to pay all those income taxes in the year that you make the conversion. But the power behind it is that you are effectively retiring on your terms now. You're breaking up with the IRS by assuming the tax liability up front. And when we assume the tax liability up front, we're paying at today's rates.
Wow.
One thing I ask every single crowd that I speak all over the state of Maryland doing workshops and seminars. I ask this question to every single crowd that I talk to. Do you think that in 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, your income tax rate will be higher or lower than where we're at today? And not once does anyone ever raise their hand and say, Prashant, I think taxes are going to be lower in 20 years than they are today. Everybody thinks that taxes are going to be higher. You can just kind of look at the national debt, the state of Social Security, state of Medicare. The writing's kind of on the wall. Taxes most likely have to go up.
Yes.
And so if taxes are going to go up in the future, doesn't it make sense to potentially pay those taxes today at a rate that we already know and that we already understand so that we never have to pay them again?
Absolutely. It does.
Absolutely. And so I'm not saying every single person needs to do a Roth conversion, but what I am saying is every single person should understand whether or not a Roth conversion is the right thing for your retirement plan. If your advisor isn't talking to you about this, I think you have to ask the question, am I working with the right specialist? And if you find that you're not, it's a great opportunity to come on in, talk about the taxation you may incur when you get to retirement, and figure out the most efficient way to withdraw from your retirement portfolio so that you keep the majority of your income, not the IRS.
Yes, we don't want Uncle Sam to take that. He's our least favorite
Absolutely.
uncle, Prashant.
Yes.
We don't like him that much. Okay. What about the next risk that we talk about in that chapter would be inflation? That's going to be a risk for people if they're not planning for it. Talk about that a little bit.
I think people have understood more than ever what a risk this could potentially become. Look, for the past, decade, outside the last couple of years here, we had pretty low inflation, even in some cases, no inflation. We saw some years where the Social Security did not give a cost of living adjustment because inflation was so low. But that has all changed. I think one thing we can all appreciate together is that in the last couple of years, times have gotten tougher. Groceries are more expensive. Gas is more expensive. Even just going to a retail store to do some shopping is more expensive. And this speaks to how important it is to plan for rising costs in retirement. I think one of the biggest mistakes that retirees make and pre-retirees make is they spend a lot of time planning for where their paycheck is going to come from when they retire. But a lot of times folks forget to make sure that that paycheck increases in retirement. If you don't have a plan for how to increase your paycheck in retirement and to do so safely,
yes,
I think you're missing the mark here, and you're exposing yourself to unnecessary retirement risk of costs going up and your purchasing power being eroded. If you haven't talked about that, that's an integral part of your financial plan, and it needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed right now. You don't want to wait until it's too late.
Yes, because we can all agree the price of goods are going up
Absolutely.
for every single thing.
Without question.
Well, let's talk about this last one, market risk. Wow, big one, because let's talk about people that are heavily invested in the stock market that are taking far too much risk and they don't even realize they're taking it.
Look, I think over the last 15 years, we've seen a historic market run. And unfortunately, I think what's come out of that is a sense of complacency. I think a lot of times people look at their retirement portfolio and they forget what it's like to go through the experience of losing money.
Yes.
Now, one thing that happened in 2022 is the stock market had a terrible year, but the bond market also had a terrible year. Even conservative, quote unquote, conservative assets like bonds experienced a huge decline. And I think what it forced people to do is reconcile their feelings about losing money, because we all forgot what it was like to lose a lot of money because the market went straight up. So I'm a believer. Look, I want all my clients to make money, but I'm a believer that losses hurt you more than gains help you. I'll say it again. Losses will hurt you more than gains help you the closer you get to retirement. I always say investing is a long-term endeavor. You'll find that the longer you can keep your money in the market without touching it, the higher the probability typically is that you're going to earn a return on your investment. Time is the most important factor when it comes to investing money. However, when we get to retirement, Cynthia, what's the one thing that we don't have quite as much of?
Time.
It's time. So now I'm faced with this scenario where I need time to be successful, but I don't have time on my side. And this is why we believe in taking a balanced approach where we don't have all of our eggs in one basket that is subjected to the ups and the downs of the market, which is influenced by outside factors that we have absolutely no control over. And so what we oftentimes do with our clients is we bucket their money. Instead of having 100% of their money at risk, we protect some of their money using things like treasury bills or fixed indexed annuities or CDs, which can offer protection, guaranteed income, and the ability to have some security surrounding your portfolio. If you haven't looked at bucketing your money, I think this is something that can help you mitigate the loss in your portfolio. Come on in, visit with us, get your 3-bucket plan put together. The phone number is 833-308-5200. If you're sitting at home thinking, wow, I've never thought about it, that losses hurt more than gains help. I've never explored what that could look like for me. You need to pick up the phone right now. The appointments go really quick every week. Our office is busy as ever. When you schedule that appointment, make sure that you're committed to coming in. Now, it's a free appointment, so you're not agreeing to do business with us. There is no obligation, but we would like to make sure that you attend that appointment because those appointment slots go very fast. 833-308-5200, complimentary and confidential review of your financial plan. You can also scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen or visit retiremaryland.com to get a free copy of my book, Fiscal Health, Retirement Wealth.
Prashant, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is 833-308-5200. We realize you're in the audience today and you're asking yourself, am I prepared for my retirement? Do I need a copy of this book? I can guarantee you the answer is yes. You're going to want to get a copy. Again, 833-308-5200, or snap that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to the landing page for Elite Income Advisors. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We're going through more chapters of Fiscal Health, Retirement Wealth. Stay tuned.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Prashant Sabapathi of Elite Income Advisors. We're talking all about fiscal health, retirement wealth, breaking it down one chapter at a time. Prashant, this next one, Chapter 3, Fill the Income Gap, Choose the Right Strategies. First, explain what is an income gap.
This is my entire philosophy when it comes to the foundational part of retirement planning. The most important part is understanding your income. There's this George Foreman quote out there. I quoted in the book. Great quote, I think. The question isn't at what age I want to retire. It's at what income. Ooh. Okay. And so to me, it starts with designing a monthly income target. So if you've never been through this exercise, start to list out what your projected retirement lifestyle is going to cost you in terms of monthly expenses. Break it down into the wants and the needs. Once we identify what your income target is, the next thing we're going to do is put together all of your sources of what we call foundational income. And foundational income is income that you can always depend on, regardless of the stock market, regardless of what's going on geopolitically around the world. You want to be able to count on this income. And that's going to be typically things like pensions and Social Security. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that your monthly income target is $8,000 a month, and that's what you need to make your retirement as fulfilling as possible. And by the way, we're always looking at after-tax numbers here, right? Because you can't spend gross, you can only spend net.
Right.
So let's say you need $8,000 net in today's dollars to live your lifestyle the way that you need to in retirement. We're going to total up all your sources of pension and Social Security. Let's just say hypothetically that gets you to $5,000 per month. Now we're going to understand that we have a gap in our income of $3,000. So that your retirement income gap is the difference between your monthly income target and your foundational reliable income. Now, 9 out of 10 people, I would say, that come in to visit with us actually do have a gap in their income. So if you find that you have an income gap, you're not alone. Most people are in a similar situation. The question is, how do we fill in the income gap? And I think once you solve that problem, that is a crucial part of building a retirement plan from the bottom up. And we can get into that in a little bit.
All right, that sounds great. And then what about this one is very important. I know people are concerned about optimizing your Social Security. It's on everyone's mind right now.
Yeah, and so that is a part of that foundational income, right? Social Security is going to be a huge part of that foundational income. You want to make sure that you're collecting it at the time that is best for your situation. And by the way, the advice that you get from your coworker or your brother-in-law or your best friend is not necessarily the right advice for you. One of the tools that we use is what's called a Social Security timing report. And that timing report allows you to understand what your options are and what combination of Social Security collection strategies could be best suited for your retirement plan. So let's go back to that income gap, right?
Okay.
Let's say that we have a target of $8,000, Social Security and pension after tax gets us to $5,000, and let's say that we have $1 million saved for retirement. This was actually a case that I ran into recently with one of our viewers out there. Came into the office, they had a $3,000 a month income gap that we had to fill in after taxes. With the $1 million, we were actually able to take about $450,000 and put that into what's called a fixed indexed annuity account. And this indexed annuity account offered them total principal protection. So they cannot lose any money on that indexed annuity. But more important than the protection, Cynthia, it gave them an income stream that is foundational, it's reliable, it is guaranteed every month and every year for the rest of their lifetime. And what they were able to do is with that $450,000, they were able to close that income gap in full.
Wow.
And that is fantastic because all of their other money was able to go into a market-based instrument that does have the risk of the up and down, but because they had all the income that they're ever going to need projected, they don't have to worry about what goes on in the market on a day-to-day basis. And it really relieved the stress of having a gap in their income. Now, my thing on annuities is I like annuities for what they're designed to do, which is provide you stability and income. But my general philosophy is I want the absolute least amount of money possible in an annuity to fill in the income gap. Okay, we shouldn't be overusing annuities, in my opinion. We should use them for what they're designed to do, which is close that gap in your income. And this goes back to the bucketing approach. So folks, great opportunity, last opportunity for today's program to get your bucketing analysis done, your income for life plan completed. Take a look at your income, understand whether or not you have a gap in your retirement income. If you do, we can talk about different solutions that are designed to close that income gap. Last opportunity for today's program. It's 833-308-5200, 833-308-5200. You can also visit retiremaryland.com. When you visit the website, you'll be able to get a free, totally free copy of my book, Fiscal Health, Retirement Wealth. It is your prescription for income generation, tax management, and financial peace of mind.
Prashant, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call, 833-308-5200. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. See you next week.